Hello, and welcome to Let's Discuss. I'm Meg Duke. I'm a licensed clinical social worker supervisor. In Kansas, I'm a licensed specialist social worker supervisor because apparently LCSW wasn't enough. And I'm also a licensed chemical dependency counselor with a private practice, perinatal mental health therapy. I want to jump in and say, before I even get started, that I identify as a woman and that I am straight and I identify as white. So a lot of the times when I'm talking about things, I will say like mama, because that's what I prefer to be. That's my parenting moniker. But I do also want to be very gender inclusive, and I want to make sure that everyone gets to participate in parenting or whatever you want to call it in your own way. So I will try to be very specific, but when you do catch me saying that, I'm talking probably about myself. So the other thing is, going off of Brene Brown, I'm just jumping in. I have perfectionism. That is my biggest hang up. So I'm thinking, I've been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to talk more and have discussions. And I'm hoping to be able to bring on guests eventually, but I just wanted to get started. And this is probably going to be terrible. Well, not terrible. See, look at me already starting off being negative. It's probably not going to be up to my standard of what I would like to see in the future. I bet one day I'll look back on this one and be like, oh my gosh, look at that terrible production quality. And I didn't know what I was talking about. But you can't get better if you don't take that first step. So here's my first step. So welcome. I'm so excited to have everybody here with me. It's such a pleasure to be able to come alongside everybody in their own individual life journeys, especially, as I said, I'm in perinatal mental health. So pregnancy, adoption, fertility, parenting, all of that. So what I wanted to start with today was gratitude virtue signaling. And so to get going with anything, we're going to first define it. So virtue signaling, the public expression, which isn't that so very 2021 of us, public expression of everything needs to be posted. Anyway, the public expression of opinions or sentiments intended to demonstrate one's good character or social conscience or the moral correctness of one's position on a particular issue. So I saw a post last week of someone's blog, and I don't know this person very well, but I posted a mutual friend of ours who that person knows her much better, and I was just like, this sort of stuff infuriates me. It makes me so angry. So I waited. This was like 5 or 6 days ago, and I'm just now bringing this up because I didn't want to do it from a place of anger, and anger is a secondary emotion, so I'm sure there are a lot of other mixtures of different things that make me so frustrated when I hear people do this gratitude virtue signaling in regards to parenting. But so here I am. So, and I'm not gonna directly quote it because I don't want to bust this girl's head. Like, I don't know her well at all. But like, it was just talking about, it was a post, again, social media post, telling parents to not wish away the young years and become overwhelmed by gratitude when you're woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning and just, again, I don't want to quote it too much. I'm going to stop because I don't want to quote it too much, but it just went on for a paragraph about how you need to just constantly be grateful for what you have. And you do, of course you want to be grateful. Of course, here we are, we're talking about being in the moment and enjoying, what's the expression? The days are long, but the years are short. And my goodness, that's true. My first one's 2 already, 2 and a quarter even. And it doesn't really seem like 2019 was all that long ago. And it's just so infuriating to me when people, and I use the word infuriating intentionally. Oh my gosh, thank you for telling me to be grateful for my child. Had you not just told me, oh, hang on to it while you can, it won't last, I don't think I would have known that. Really? Do you not think that I know to be grateful? Do you not think, like, I want to complain or I want to vent or whatever it might be because I feel like you might be a safe space? And I can't tell you how many times I've posted something that I think is funny, like both of my kiddos had or have reflux. So I'm puked on a lot. I think it's hilarious. Like, my son he baptized me in his vomit during his baptismal ceremony at our church, and we laughed. The sanctuary laughed. It was so fun. There's a picture of me like, because I didn't realize he had done it until I handed him off to our pastor, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm covered in puke. But like, who cares? It's funny. And that, fortunately, I don't think I had too many people telling me in that situation. But if I post something and I'll say like, oh, I did my hair today, and someone, my son immediately puked on it. And I was like, well, just be grateful you have a baby. And it's like, when are we not allowed to be human? Are we not allowed to be annoyed that our freshly cleaned hair, which by the way doesn't get that happen that often, is now cakey and gross and hard? Like, and also it is funny. And if I post it, it's not to, I don't know, for me, if I post something, it's not to get sympathy. If I need sympathy, I will text my girlfriends. I'll talk to my husband about it. I'll talk to my mom and dad. Like, I've got plenty of people. I've got good Judys. We will commiserate together. When I post something, it's usually because I think it's cute or funny or whatever. And I know that that's not the situation for everybody. I know some people out there, you're like, oh, but Meg, I know so-and-so, and all they do is complain. And all they do is post because they want people to back them up and support. You know, they're looking for validation online. Fine. I'm just talking about myself and a lot of the people that I know when they're like trying to be funny. And so it's so frustrating for me when I see people say, you just need to get over it and be grateful. Oh, you're exhausted at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever time. My daughter just happened to wake up at 3 o'clock this morning and 11:30 last night when we were so good and went to bed at 9:30 early. And then she woke up at 11:30 and I was. And it's great. And it's so, it's so wonderful. What a blessing to be able to breastfeed. I'm lucky to be able to do that. And I will be the first person to talk about how lucky it is. It took me so long to get and stay pregnant. I was pretty sure breastfeeding was not, like, my body does not like being pregnant, doesn't understand the situation. There's no way I'm going to produce milk. It's just not going to happen for me. And I'm like a cow. And it is, I can't say it enough, the gratitude that I have for that. But I don't need you to tell me to be grateful for that. I am. But if I want to make a joke, if I want to complain that I have a lump in my breast that is painful, or heaven forbid, knocking on wood, I did not get mastitis, but I have friends who have it. It's so painful. And it's like, well, at least you can breastfeed. When did we become like this as a society where it's like, well, at least you can do this, or my other, if I may quickly go on a tangent, is just wait. Don't tell me to just wait. Like, oh, you think that's bad? Wait, it only gets worse. And it's like, how is that helpful in my current situation? How is that helpful in me in my parenting journey? If I use just wait, it is in a positive way, like, oh, just wait, it gets so cute when they start smiling, or just wait, it gets so cute when they da-da-da. But even then I will apologize for having said just wait, because it is a trigger for me when somebody tells me to just wait, because it's almost always, it's like a competition for negativity of like, oh, your kiddo's sleeping, well, just wait for leap 4, which we're in leap 4, which is why she's waking up multiple times a night. It's like this like trauma Olympics that we're participating in, and I don't get it. So it's like, you're either on one side is you should be grateful. You should be grateful all the time. You should never be upset about anything. You should be a perfect person and a robot and a mom and you're wonderful. Again, I'm a mom, so that's how I identify, whatever your parenting moniker is. And if you're a parent, then you should just be grateful to be raising a child. And it's like, you can always be grateful. Always be grateful. And then also at the same time, be frustrated that somebody puked on your nice shoes, or that you have poop all over yourself and you're supposed to go into a big meeting and you didn't know. I think this is an overarching theme of life in general, is that you can feel more than one thing at once. I have a girlfriend now, and I hope she doesn't mind me sharing. I'm not going to say who it is, but she's pregnant right now and she's in a lot of pain, and she's so grateful and so excited to have this child. And also she doesn't like being pregnant. And people, again, I can't tell you how many times, like, heaven forbid I mentioned having a symptom. Heaven forbid I mentioned having, well, at least you're pregnant. At least you didn't have a miscarriage. And it's like, yeah. Of course I'm grateful, but also my ankles are swollen and I have pitting edema, and that makes me nervous because that means something's going on. And so I'm going to call my doctor, and like, wasn't complaining, just wanted to see if anybody had any feedback or advice or positive advice. Anyway, so yeah, that's my just wait tangent. So thank you for going with me on that. And I'm sure that will come up again in the future, because just wait for me is so frustrating with the trauma Olympics. But coming back to the other side of, you should always have to be grateful. It's this shaming that we're doing of, you have something someone else doesn't have, which is so true. So how dare you ever be anything but grateful and get out of bed and be excited and And it's like, I'm like literally physically a little sick right now because I haven't slept very well because my daughter's in leap 4 and she hasn't been letting me sleep very well. And that's okay because she's healthy and she's growing and a leap is great. She is Miss Chatty Cathy. She had blah, 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 and it's love and giggle machine. It's so lovely. It's so beautiful. I'm constantly trying to get it recorded on video because I never want to forget that sound. And I'm also tired and I'm also not feeling well. And for me to be able to say to somebody and not have to worry about being judged or shamed, so-and-so can't have a baby, so you're lucky to even have one, or whatever else. I'm not going to go into other things people have said to me because they're much more specific and deeply personal and quite frankly hateful. It's just so weird to me. It's so strange. And I don't understand how we've gotten to this space and why people think it's okay to butt in and say these things and in a global way. I'm coming back around again to this one specific post, and I don't want to say anything more about what was said, but if you want to say, this is kind of my stay in your lane, I guess I'm moving into the stay in your lane section of the discussion of the Let's Discuss, but if you want to say, this is what I tell myself when I'm overwhelmed and exhausted, is to put those feet on the floor and get into that nursery and crawl into that recliner and just be a bask in the glow of the beauty that is chest feeding. Great. Absolutely. This is what I say to myself. You can post that. But don't blanketly tell all parents that they need to be doing exactly what you're doing every single time. It is just... I've seen it so many times. It's so frustrating. These are the conversations I'm having with clients. Obviously, I'm talking a lot about myself right now, and that's why I'm excited to hopefully have guests on, so it's not just, geez, Meg, are you sitting here talking for 12 minutes about how much you hate life? No. Because I think you'll see on the opposite side of that is how obsessed I am with my children and how grateful I am. I want to see how we can be kinder to each other. And I think when we post these things, when we say these things in person or over the phone or over text of just wait or be grateful or it won't last forever, it's like, that's not helpful to me in any way. And now you're like making me feel bad that I was in some way not expressing my gratitude enough. And so also separately, if you do if you know me, if we're Judy's or family, maybe not even if we're family, but if we're on that kind of term and you're genuinely concerned about something, please feel free to text me, call me, send me a message somehow individually, but please don't make it about getting likes and thumbs up on my wall because I posted something and you want to virtue signal to my followers how much smarter and more intelligent you are or more grateful. I would say the same thing. This is globally for everybody. Just stay in your lane, man. Like, just help people out by supporting, not by judging, not by this is how I do it and therefore everyone should do it this way. Let's just, how do we do better? How do we do better by each other? We help each other out. We support. If you're genuinely concerned, call that person up. Have that conversation. Don't post it on their wall. Don't post it on their feed and say, you're not being grateful enough and how dare. Sorry, something just popped in my mind about when I was talking about trying to get out of the hospital with my firstborn and somebody was talking about, well, at least you get to take your baby home. And I was like, first of all, I don't think I was complaining. Was I complaining? Did I say something that I was complaining? I was just saying that we're trying to get out of the hospital. And second of all, whoa, aggressive. So I just immediately unfollowed that person and unfriended, and I've moved on with my life. I just want to encourage. I don't know. I feel like I've kind of been negative on this one. So I think this is going to be one of those times where I look back and I'm going to have a lot of shame and think I wasn't perfect and I talk with my hands too much, which we all know to be true. And I didn't turn my Alexa off and apparently something just got delivered. So you all heard that. I will think of that for future episodes. That's why I'm hoping to have guests again, as I said, because I don't want it to just be me talking about me, but I do want everybody to feel validated. I want people to feel encouraged. Parenting is so hard. You go into it with all these views and visions. You have all these nieces and nephews, so you think, okay, I'm going to do that and that and that, but I'm not going to do that and that and that. And then you get here and it's like, oh, I had no idea what I was talking about. Or you have no context because you're never around children, ever. And you still have, of course, we all have ideas and fantasies and the dream of what parenthood will be like. And a lot of it is is the same way, and a lot of it is so wildly different, and you had no idea, and you couldn't see it coming from, a mile away. And so I just want us to be able to I don't know, can I give you permission to do something? I'm giving myself permission to scroll past that junk. That's what I'm saying right now. When I see people tell me to be grateful, or I see somebody else telling other people to be grateful with their virtue signaling or whatever it might be, I'm going to scroll past it, because I'm sure it came from a good place, which I probably should have started 15 minutes ago with. I'm sure it came from a good place, because you want to believe that it's coming from a good place. But for me, it's just finger pointing. And I don't have time for finger pointing. I don't have the energy for it. I'm constantly running around getting kids together, getting things going, making sure they've got their names monogrammed in their clothes because they've got to get it to school, and their breast milk defrosted and ready to go. And, and then it only gets up from here, right? Just wait till they have school projects. Just wait till they have homework, right? Just wait. Anyway, so I just want everybody to feel encouraged that sometimes if you wake up in the middle of the night and your first word is a cuss word, because holy goodness, I was finally falling asleep and now it's 3:00 in the morning and I've been woken up, that's okay. That's okay. Now don't cuss at your baby, obviously. And that is the great thing about it, is that when you are able to sit there and hold them and bottle feed or chest feed or however it is that you're doing, it is a really nice snuggly moment. So the frustration and the anger of that often does melt away naturally, but you don't need somebody to tell you about it. So anyway, I really appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to this. It's kind of long, but also, like I said, I want to have these in-depth conversations with people about breastfeeding, chest feeding experiences. And I would love to talk about my umbilical hernia, because I know a lot of you have mentioned that you've had those, and like, what do we do with those? So I'd love to share my experience. I like to normalize everything as much as possible. That's why I'm very open about my own fertility and pregnancy and parenting journeys. So here we are. Let's discuss. Today we're talking about gratitude, virtue signaling, and I look forward to hearing some of your comments about your experiences, and certainly, if you want to shoot me a message and tell me how I could have done better, that's fine too. That's all this is about in life, right? Trying to figure out how we can do it better. So y'all have a great day, make it a great week, and we'll talk soon.